Are you a monopoly? No. Are you trying to be a monopoly? No. Are you trying to buy up your competition? No. Are you trying to take over the affordable wireless internet space? No. Are you trying to win back the customers you lost due to bad customer support? No. Can I buy Mint Mobile now? No, you may not! I still have more questions. So it's hard to believe this. It's actually been over 4 years since I've switched from Verizon to Mint Mobile, and I'm happy to say there's fairly little complaints along the way. The other thing I can talk about more in my long-term review is I have switched my SIM around both the physical and the eSIM from many different devices, and the most weirdest development is, you get the 5G support. T-Mobile's doing, low-band, mid-band 5G for a lot of people, and Mint Mobile doesn't offer any kind of ultra-wideband support, but if you're looking for that, Mint Mobile's not your carrier, okay? It's meant to be like the affordable option for the masses that don't want anything complicated. They don't want to fuss around with billing and account management. So that's what I've appreciated about Mint Mobile after all these years, is that you only pay your phone bill once for the year and then you're done. And that just makes things so much more simple compared to just my T-Mobile account management for my home internet jumping around all over the place. They're changing the terms and conditions, and sometimes they have credit card failed payments that don't go through, and then you gotta call them again for late fees and that kind of thing. And Mint has just kept it very, very simple, and on my newer 5G iPhones, speeds have been totally fine. The coverage has been great. Of course, it's gonna depend a lot on your region if it's gonna be great for you, but what has developed in more recent history is I felt like on older iPhones that do not have 5G modems, the speeds have taken a noticeable dive, and I'm not even entirely sure if that's T-Mobile's fault, Mint Mobile's fault, or the iPhone's fault, but the most consistent issue is my wife is still using an iPhone 10. I've asked her if she wants to upgrade many, many times, just so we're clear. I would love to run out and get her an iPhone 15, but we have shared finances, so that's basically like forcing someone to buy something, and she doesn't want to upgrade. Trust me, I would love for her to upgrade. I want her to have USB-C on her iPhone, but she's not ready yet. She wants to keep using the iPhone 10. However, she has noticed that whenever she's out of range of Wi-Fi, the cellular speeds on those 4G old-fashioned Intel modems, I've seen other people complain about this. It's not just on the iPhone 10, and I get the impression that, I'm not an expert in this field, but it feels very much like carriers in general are prioritizing all of their infrastructure and all of their bandwidth to go towards the 5G wavelength so that the 5G iPhones and Android phones all have stable connections, and then all of the older phones with 4G seem to continuously be getting slower and slower speeds. And I know they did not have speeds that slow at launch. This is not just, 5G is faster now. It's like, no, I did speed tests with 4G phones in my house. The cell tower hasn't moved or anything, and I know what you used to be able to get with a 4G tower, and now I'm not getting anywhere close to that, and it's frustrating my wife quite a bit, but that's more speculative on issues we've had more recently. But yes, my wife is on Mint Mobile, and they've changed the data offerings, I guess, since the last time I've reviewed it, and I think between all of my friends and family members, I've got cousins, I've got close friends and in-laws, and everybody you can imagine that has switched over to Mint Mobile since I've started telling them about it, and they pretty much all have the exact same plan. It's the cheapest one, because especially these days, I can name so many people that have moved more towards working from home, or a lot of people have retired and they're at home using their Wi-Fi most of the time, and if they go out and about, they're not going to be using a ton of data. And I know in the tech community, there's a lot more of us that love to rack up our data bills and use up, terabytes of cellular data, in which case, Mint Mobile might not be the best value if you're looking for truly like data grinding unlimited internet, because there's some other options out there like Visible, which technically can offer, unlimited internet, but it does get deprioritized after 50 gigs with them. But still, $25 through Visible, although Mint is offering pretty much all the time like intro pricing. So if you sign up for Mint today, this is not a sponsor or anything, they're not paying me to say this, you can basically get any of their data plans for $15 a month. So that includes their unlimited data plan, but similar to Visible, after a certain number of gigs, I think it's around 25, then you're deprioritized. And I currently have the unlimited plan with Mint Mobile, and I don't notice a big difference in cellular speeds, even when I run out of data. And you get 10 gigs of hotspot data with that unlimited plan, which is kind of sweet. Although Visible offers unlimited data hotspot too, after a while they throttle you, it gets deprioritized. So it just depends on your region, but again, most of the people in my personal life are not huge data users, so they just want a cheap, affordable plan, and that's what seems to be so hard for anybody to beat with Mint Mobile, is that entry $15 a month. And that continues with 5 gigs of data, and I don't know, I talk to a lot of people that genuinely don't even use that much. And the nice thing about Mint Mobile that I prefer to a lot of its competitors, most of which in my personal life, the only people I know that are not on Mint Mobile tend to be on Xfinity Mobile, because they have Xfinity Internet, so they're convinced, you know, it must be cheaper for me to bundle my phone bill in with my Wi-Fi bill. And in reality, there's some truth to that, but usually Xfinity is offering, you know, like an extra $10 a month to cover your phone, but it only gives you like a gig. And what will occasionally happen, and I think Comcast loves it when this happens, is someone will take a trip and they'll suddenly use a lot more data than they normally do, and then Xfinity charges you based on how much data you use after that point, so the bill progressively goes up. Whereas Mint Mobile, if you use up the 5 gigs in a single month, your speeds get a little slower, but technically it keeps working, and there's not some overage fee. You don't find out later that, oh crap, I wasn't on cellular earlier and I get a way bigger phone bill at the end of the month. No, because you just pay for the year at a time, and if you use up the data, it just slows down until your billing cycle resets. And I've talked to many grandparents, aunts, uncles, and parents that have run into situations where, you know, they don't know exactly the ins and outs of how their phone works. They don't even really register when their phone is on Wi-Fi versus cellular. I oftentimes have to point that out to them in the icon at the top of the phone. No, see, you're on cellular data right now. And there were so many times in the past when they were using either Xfinity Mobile or earlier carriers with limited data rates that if they accidentally use a bunch of data, then they wake up next week to the massive phone bill in the mail. And that just doesn't happen with Mint because there's no like overage fees, even if you accidentally do use up a bunch of data. Of course, just like all carriers, there are options if you know how to look for them to unlock more data if you need to, but most of the people I know basically never do that. A lot of people just don't care about technology as much as the rest of us do. I still run into situations where like, oh, a family member used up their 5 gigs really fast. They're like, oh darn, okay, I guess I'll just use Wi-Fi more and I'll wait till my billing cycle resets. Most people are not interested in buying more data once they run out, at least in my anecdotal life experience. But the other thing that's changed a lot, I would say, since the last time I reviewed Mint Mobile over 2 years ago, is the phone options they have in store. I haven't seen as many great deals with iPhones per se, but with Android phones, specifically Pixels, they are often selling like phone plus the phone service in a bundled price, and oftentimes you can get those for a very good deal. I didn't see any great bargains going on right now, but they're just something you should look out for in the future, and I'll tweet these out as soon as I find them. They had this incredible deal where you could get a Pixel 7 Pro for $200, and it included 1 year of Mint Mobile service. That just blew my mind. I remember as a kid, like, wondering, oh my gosh, phones, $500, $700, and that doesn't even count the price of the service. Oh man. You know, when you're young and you don't have a lot of money, phones sound like this super expensive, crazy thing, and I saved up all of my lawn mowing money so that I could buy an iPod Touch for like $200, $300. Now the fact that it's 2024 and you can find like a really high-end flagship phone. The Pixel 7 Pro has an amazing camera system, still very powerful, great battery life, great display and everything for $200, and that would come with the year's worth of service. Yeah, that deal was way too good to be true. A bunch of my friends were picking up Pixel 7s when that happened, and yeah, I don't see deals like that all the time, but it was through Mint Mobile, and I haven't often seen bundles or deals that good with the big 3 carriers that everybody knows. Usually you don't see huge bundles and deals like that through the MVNO, right? Like, the MVNO is usually less bells and whistles like Mint Mobile, because of course they're using T-Mobile towers. So usually it's just like, we just offer the cheap service. There's no special perks, you know, they still don't have Apple Watch cellular connectivity, which I wish they would. And I still think Mint is a little bit cheap when it comes to the eSIM process. Like, they don't support the whole iOS eSIM transfer process. You have to order the eSIM through the Mint Mobile app, which they give you 2 free eSIMs a year, which I guess for most people is going to be totally fine. But if you're someone like me reviewing phones all the time, I used up those 2 free eSIMs pretty quickly. And then they want to charge you like $3 for eSIMs after that, even though it's entirely digital. I don't really get it. I believe there are some activation fees that they have to pay to have an active phone number, and most big carriers, because they're charging you way more per month, are able to just waive those fees because they know most people don't switch their phone that often. But Mint Mobile's looking for more ways to cut costs, so yeah, it's kind of annoying if you're a YouTuber and you want to switch around eSIMs all the time. They also updated the referral program, so if you like raking up referral credits because you know other people that might be interested in using Mint Mobile, they used to let you rack up like $480 worth of credit per year if you were able to refer about 10 people. But now they've capped it at 4, and the referral credit you get is based on which plan people sign up for. So if someone signs up for the smallest plan, you get about $180 worth of credit, and then that's it for the year. They were just giving away too much free phone service for people recommending it, because honestly, it's not just me. I know it's easy to say as a YouTuber to be like, oh, the referral programs are great, but I had friends and family members that were also referring other friends and family members. So they were taking their $15 a month phone bill, racking up just a handful of referrals, and turning that into a, nothing a month phone bill. All you really needed was 4 people, and you got a free year of phone service, which is pretty unparalleled from what I've seen in the mobile carrier space. So if you're willing to recommend people, Mint is very much willing to reward you for that. It's not as good as it used to be, and it's still there, and I just want to applaud Mint for not changing all that much. They've still been a great carrier. Customer support has been fantastic, although I haven't needed to contact them for much at all. They've been doing great. And even though that T-Mobile is trying to acquire them, they haven't fluctuated too much, and they've seemed to remain committed to still offering that entry price of $15 a month for 5 gigs, even though T-Mobile is trying to acquire them, although it hasn't officially gone through yet. I thought the higher data options would get more expensive, and they haven't. They just keep including more data for the same price. So please, Ryan, deliver with Deadpool 3. Very excited to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine again, and also deliver with Mint Mobile. Just change nothing. If anything, it would be great if T-Mobile didn't even buy you guys, because I don't want them to have, monopoly over all of the MVNOs. But what have your guys' experiences been like with Mint Mobile or your own personal carriers? Feel free to let me know down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Mint Sheep here, and I'll see you in the next one.